Hey guys, this is Magneto, and today I'm doing the most anticipated comics for August from Marvel Comics. So let's get started. I'm going to be discussing the comics I'm most excited for, maybe some of the bigger titles coming out for that month. And first I want to start out with the actual title of this video, which is Fantastic Four becoming the flagship for Marvel again? Because we have a ton of Fantastic Four titles here. We have Fantastic Four issue 35, which is the anniversary issue, and then also Kang the Conqueror is getting a comic as well, who is a Fantastic Four villain. Now, I do find it interesting. First of all, we have the wedding from Doctor Doom that's going on right now, so we're definitely getting some plot points and hopefully more people jumping onto the book, and then whatever twists and turns we're getting with this anniversary. And I hope this is just the start of more Fantastic Four. We also have the life story book for Fantastic Four, so they're definitely putting a spotlight more on these characters. I'm curious if that's going to lead up to maybe a big event, kind of like what Venom did with King in Black. What are the plans for Fantastic Four, and why are we getting a spotlight? Cough, cough. Probably because we're getting a movie. So it's interesting to see. Obviously, they were gone for so long, and finally getting the focus that they deserve because of cough, cough, the movies. But yeah, really excited to see what the anniversary issue is going to bring, and also where the wedding is going. We don't really have a ton of information. We've only really gotten one issue for that. So I think it's going to be all dependent on that event and what's going to happen with the family. And then moving into Kang the Conqueror, I am not a huge fan of Kang, but I am a big Young Avengers fan. So I'm curious if they're going to bring any Iron Lad aspect to the character as well. And speaking of MCU stuff, they seem to be leading into a Young Avengers show. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to maybe showcase some of these characters in the comics. Now moving into away from Fantastic Four, and that is Spider-Man. Another series that seems that a lot of things are going to be happening in the next couple of months with. We did get some big revelations in the last issue of Spider-Man, and we have the Sinister War coming up. I discussed this in a topic video about my expectations for Sinister War, and then also I think I touched upon it on my last anticipated video as well. And I think we're ending the series. So we have like issues 3 and 4 for this month. And I'm curious to see what this is going to bring. Will Dr. Octopus be the villain he once was? Are they going to try to bring him back to basics? And how is this going to affect the relationship between Spider-Man and Kindred? Hopefully we get some answers there because it's been a while, even though we did get that little tidbit in the last issue. So curious to see, because we just have so much Spider-Man content from the actual main series where we have this mini series and then also just a regular series going on at the same time. We're getting closer to the weekly issues. There's just a lot of Spider-Man, and hopefully it stays with quality and not just quantity. Moving into X-Men, The Trial of Magneto. Speaking of big events from Marvel, we do have the Hellfire Gala coming up in like a week or two, and this is the ramifications of the Hellfire Gala. So there's a murder. We don't know who's murdered. Kind of wish that wasn't spoiled, but we do know Magneto is involved, and they're having a whole mini-series about it. And yeah, I'm not a huge Magneto fan, but I am interested to see hopefully Hellfire Gala not just being about dresses and beautiful clothes, and which I'm sure it's not going to be, and we actually have some big ramifications, because X of Swords definitely had a lot of hype and didn't really do much for the main books, but we have a lot of things spinning out of Hellfire Gala, like the new X-Men book, which I guess kind of came out of X of Swords, so maybe some stuff happened. We just had to wait a really long time for it. And we also now have this Magneto series, so I hope there's some good twists and turns for it. So moving on to Cable Reloaded issue 1, this seems to be involving their new cosmic event, which I'm not going to follow. I'm not a huge cosmic fan, but definitely seeing Cable in a different light and not just dealing with Krakoa. I am definitely interested to see older Cable again. I read throughout the whole younger Cable stuff. I like the character. Again, very curious why they're going to bring it into Cosmic Marvel. Is he going to be related to the Krakoa stuff at all, or is he going to have his own adventures? Is it just a one-shot? Are we going to get a mini-series after this, and ongoing? Where are we going to see Cable after this Reloaded story, and what does that mean for young Cable and even characters like Hope that are very connected to Cable? Moving on to Winter Guard issue 1. I normally wouldn't talk about a book like this because I'm not a huge Black Widow fan, but I love the current Black Widow series. I love what Kelly Thompson's doing. I've never been able to get into a Black Widow series until she started writing it, and I've been loving the book. So I'm curious, maybe I'll pick up Winter Guard issue 1, especially with all the movie stuff coming up, maybe to learn a little bit more about Black Widow's supporting cast. I don't really know much about them, so maybe this is a good jumping on point to get into even more Black Widow, which will hopefully be as good as what we've been seeing with Black Widow. Speaking of, we do have the issue 10, which is actually the 50th issue of Black Widow. Which is kind of crazy. You would think there's more Black Widow comics, not just 50 issues. And this seems to have a lot of twists and turns. They spoil a little bit about that protege. Seems like they have powers of some sort. Kind of wish we read that in the comic. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this plays out, because this book has been very twisty and turny, and you really don't know what's going to happen next. And like I said, just been loving it. And I'm glad that they're celebrating the series, and hopefully it'll get more eyeballs onto the book. Moving on to Defenders, issue 1, another book I'm kind of surprised I'm talking about. I never really got into Defenders, but there's two things that interest me here. Maybe three. Al Ewing is writing it, so I'm already interested as a fan. And then Masked Raider is in it. We haven't seen that character in like 2 years. They introduced him, and then we just never heard anything. I think probably because of stuff with COVID as well, because he was introduced, COVID hit. We didn't really get much story, and now we're finally getting a story with him, with Ewing, who's been doing a lot of Cosmic Marvel, been doing a lot with Guardians of the Galaxy. The third thing is my girl Betty. Really, the real reason I'm picking this up is because of Betty Ross. I love the character, and I'm so glad that she's found a home post-Immortal Hulk, because that was definitely a worry. She's a character that tends to have stories in between panels and not on panel, because she's just, kind of a C-list character in a way. So it's really cool to see Al Ewing still playing with the character, even if it's just a 5-issue miniseries. But, a series that could be bigger with the introduction of Masked Raider. Moving into another number one, which is Darkhawk, issue 1. And another character I normally wouldn't pick up. I didn't read his comic in the 90s, never really picked on the character. But what's cool about this one is I know as a cult following, and this is following a new character as Darkhawk. He seems really cool. He's a basketball player, so that interests me. And yeah, it's just kind of cool to see another generation character for this kind of cult character, not like a Captain America or Iron Man, is Darkhawk. So also with all the Heroes Reborn stuff, I guess that makes sense as well. They've had some Darkhawk references there, or going to have some Darkhawk references there. So I guess that makes sense. And obviously they just celebrated the 30th anniversary. I'm going to give this first issue a shot. I'm interested. Moving on to Spider-Man Life Story issue 1 annual. I really loved Spider-Man Life Story, especially issue 2 and on. And this has to do all with J. Jonah Jameson. I'm like, okay, why are they telling this story? Why are they going out of their way to tell this story? And come on, it's JJJ. He's a great character, and yeah, I'm just curious to see what the twist is going to be with him, because that's all of Life Story, is that there's a big twist with the characters, and I think Spider-Man did a good job with that. Moving on to Captain Marvel issue 31. They spoiled a good amount in this one, where it seems like Rhodey and Captain Marvel are going to be back together. I'm like, okay, so now we know they're together. I guess the question is how. And then, Captain Marvel's sister is going to show up, and I love her, and I miss her, and I'm so glad that she's showing up again. And that's mostly why I wanted to talk about this issue, is that I'm glad that she's showing up. Moving on to the last one, my most anticipated book for the month, and that is Runaways, issue 100. This promises us twists and turns. This book has already had plenty of twists and turns. And also, the solicit reads like we're getting more Runaways. So that's always a good promise and a good hope that after issue 100, we'll actually get another chapter of Runaways. Pick up Runaways if you're not reading it. And we also have the co-creator of the book, Adrian Alfona, who is going to be back on the book to tell a story there. Chris Anka's returning. We obviously have the regular creative team with Andres and Rainbow. So I'm just stoked for this book. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. And so happy that there's been so many issues of this current run. I think Rainbow's done such a good job with this book, and every issue I am always so excited to read and always love every issue of the book. If you're not reading this book, go check it out as we prepare for issue 100. Now, it's not so new reader friendly. You probably have to go back to issue 1, but it's such a good book and so worth getting the trades. So excited for issue 1 and to see what happens next. So those are all the books I'm anticipating for August. Let me know in the comments below, what are you excited for? Hopefully you guys could go like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Go check out my Twitter, and also my Facebook. Go check out my comic books, which I do have a Kickstarter live right now. So go check that out. In the description below, there's a link for it for my book, like Follow My Daughter and the Haunting crossover. It's a lot of fun if you like high school superhero ghost stories. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.